Rainbow Six is one of these games where you're like, oh, I didn't know that's a thing. So in this video, I'm gonna show you 50 tips to get better in Rainbow Six Siege. As you probably know, there is no way to one-hit barricades anymore, but there is a different variation of it. Let me show you how it works. All you need to do is you need to hit the barricade from somewhat of a distance into either the top right or the top left corner. And then the only thing you need to do is shoot out one of these bars, and you're already able to go through them. Now this is what it looks like super fast. The second thing is you're peeking incorrectly. You're using your whole body to peek around corners just like this. And then having to readjust towards the enemies, which is not the smartest way of doing it. Instead, do it like this. If you want to check if there's someone in this little utility area here of blue, instead of just peeking in and then adjusting, already pre-aim on about head level. This way, you're gonna have an advantage when it comes to swinging the enemy because you're already closer to their heads instead of having to flick onto them. If you then want to check up into sight for either a main stairs or a trash plant, just clear with your mouse instead of your body. We have the utility area, then we have the stairs, then we have the close-up right up to the shelf, then we have the main stairs, and then we have the breach. Everyone knows that 1v1s are 50-50 coin flips. So if you want more 2v1s, you need to set up crossfires. So if you want to know how this works, for example, you're here in memo. Let's say you're holding this angle here. So you're going to call your teammate over to the memo door to hold a tight angle with you. So you're not just going to swing onto the enemy. Instead, you're going to let him walk him into the room. And if he chooses to pre-fire you, you have an instant guaranteed refrag. Next up is you're not using your Hibana utility to the full extent. Let's say all of these windows here on the bedroom side, even the construction window, are castled. You don't need to go up and punch them. Instead, just use 2 pellets. Put them on every window. Let them blow off. This way, you still have enough pellets to open a hatch or a wall, and you're not gonna die with utility in your pocket that you could have needed in another place. All of you heard about Kate tricking, but did you know you can also trick characters with a Rooney? All you gotta do is just set it up on the top side of the hatch, and now if you jump up onto the counter, you're disabling their running gate, and therefore if they then place down a gadget, you simply just hop off the shelf again, and their running gate will destroy HyperX charges, thermal charges, Hibana charges, or even ace charges. Next up is, you need to communicate more. You can't just run around not talking and then be like, oh yeah, solo queue is shit. No, if you don't communicate, you can't expect your teammates to communicate with you. If you feel like you're in an absolute death position, don't just sit there like a chicken and wait for the enemies to kill you. Instead, start swinging out with pre-fires. This way, you have the momentum of surprise, and because you're already pre-firing, preferably at head level, you're way more likely to get kills and maybe even get a 1v1 or 2v1 trade. Instead of playing vertical onto kitchen like an NPC, do this. All you need to do is rappel up to the office hatch. Make sure it's clear. And then you're already able to play vertical from office into the back side of Armory. By doing it from office, the enemies can't see for you, and therefore they can't get an easy frag onto you with a Valkyrie camp in kitchen, for example. When playing on Garage on clappers, be sure to play with these as armies. This one here allows you to play right here in this corner without instantly getting shot from the door. And also, if they have a mountain and he tries to walk up, they need to destroy the Sami area first. This one here just basically allows you to move more freely in the 90 area. Then the last cube area simply allows you to have a nice little angle onto the garage door, which is basically impossible to fight against. And you also get an angle onto the garage breach. Now, this is what you see from the bottom garage angle. And this is what you see from the garage door. Now that I've already showed you an Asami setup, I'm gonna show you the most frustrating Asami setup to play against. And this is how to create the angle. Just crouch up to a door frame, you aim about foot level, and you make sure you keep standing next to the barrier so it blocks off the keeper from actually expanding all the way. And then you want to use your second cube barrier about 75% off the door frame. And then this gives you this little angle here onto the trophy door. And if you're worried about a vendor repel, just close it off. Next up is something super basic, but I see a lot of people, especially in your lower ranks, not being aware of this. And this is, you're way faster running with your pistol than when you're running with your primary weapon. You need to start covering your repellent sounds with bullets. What I mean by this, don't just repel in Instead, do it like this. So this way, enemies will think you're just pre-firing default angles instead of actually repelling in. When droning, try to avoid jumping, as it makes a ton of noises and just gives the position of your cam away. You need to start applying phantom/ghost pressure. What this is, you're simply just opening doors and/or windows just so that the enemies need to worry about someone walking in there. We've already talked about covering your sounds when repelling in, but it also starts covering your sounds when you drop, for example, into pit from the upper attic. So instead of just dropping down and having that big noise and making all of the enemies on every map in Rainbow Six Siege aware that you're there, just fire one simple bullet just before you hit the ground. The next thing is to stay calm when you're aiming. You don't need to flick everything and then lose your gunfight because of it. You are able to slowly scan areas and make sure you're not over flicking or then whiffing onto enemies. You can drive up walls if you simply just put punch holes into a wall. You need to start shooting the glass of windows. All you need are 4 bullets into a window to destroy the outside glass panel. What this does is, if you destroy the glass, you are able to hear enemies repel, which is such a big advantage if you're defending in, for example, Café Toplo. Next up is Gadget and drone deployment. You want both of these things on advanced. So for example, if you're breaching a wall with Thermite, you can stop the animation of putting the breaching charge down and put it back into your pocket in order to not get tricked by a Kate or a Bandit. And putting that drone deployment on advanced is just so that if you deploy a drone, you're not going instantly into the cam, as this might get you killed, because a no-brainer Warden main might just swing you around the corner and get you off guard because you automatically went into the cam. Next up is care less and vibe more. I know this might sound odd in a tips and tricks video that's meant to improve your overall skill and take the game more serious, but if you take solo queue, for example, too serious, you're just gonna lose your mind. Your teammates just won't actually play off you, with you, or communicate with you. So have more fun and play in a way you actually enjoy the game. If you want to rush in a certain door, or rush so you get faster into sight or get more area, just take Ash and just shoot your Ash charger into the top right corner, and you're able to sprint through the door without getting damage. Next up, there's a way to counter the Bandit trick with Thermite. If the Bandit is tricking the wall, you can just simply stop putting the charge down as long as you have the Gadget deployment on advanced. So put it down and stop. You don't have to watch the whole animation for Dokubi calls. Just watch for the thumb on the right, and once you press the button, you're already able to let go of Dokubi's little tablet. Just gonna show you one more time. Watch the thumb. And she clicked. And you're already able to go off it. Next up, you're able to shoot 3 cams directly from the spawn and bank. The first one's the outside cam. Next up is the lobby cam. And the last cam is the square cam. So always shoot those cams if you spawn Zowie on bank. You need to hold more pixel angles. And what I mean by that is you are able to just hold these tight angles here, and the moment you see movement coming up the stairs, you simply just shoot and go away really fast. But is you're oftentimes able to secure a lot of kills from enemies just flanking up staircases without really risking your life. Start shooting little pre-fires when going away from angles. If you're, for example, holding the stock window right here and you want to aim towards South Square, just shoot a little burst before you switch angles, just in case the enemy swings in that second. There is a high chance that you might have recall just because of that little extra thing. Sometimes you just don't know where you got killed from and you accidentally skip the kill cam and your enemy isn't answering. So what are you gonna do to not repeat this mistake? You just simply head into match replay, and simply by going into the match replay, you will then see where you got killed from, and then you're able to never repeat this mistake again. When you're defending the top floor of bank, there's 3 Asami barriers that you wanna place down. One being right here on the wire of the lamp. The other one being right here on this beam on the railing. And the third one being just right here on the left side of the window frame. When solo queuing, your goal shouldn't be to win the rounds alone. Instead, your goal should be to get as much space as possible for your team. Because you're creating space, your team is way more likely to then win the round based off your action than just you trying to win all rounds 1 versus 5. When you're in a 1 versus 5 situation, you should never aim towards just killing all of the enemies at once. Instead, you should try to isolate one enemy and take a 1v1 each time. As I said earlier in the videos, 1v1s are simply coin flips. And because you're already alone, you can't build up a crossfire or call over a teammate. So just try to get that 1v1s in and slowly work your way towards winning the round. Instead of punching windows 3 times like a complete beginner to jump out, instead just shoot out one little bar at the bottom right or bottom left of the barricade and then punch it twice. And then you're already able to jump out with making way less noise. Next up is start aiming for head level. Simply by aiming at head level, you will be able to get so many more kills as you don't need to adjust your mouse anymore. You only need to press your left mouse button. If you don't know where head level is and you don't know how to train it, simply just head into the shooting range, put in these settings here, and all you need to now do is follow the dummy's heads. You only need 4 Hibana pellets to make a walk-through rotate, and this is how you make it. You simply just align the dot on the bottom right with this little cross here, put it on, activate the Hibana pellets, and you're already able to walk through and plant. You need to use your lion scans more efficiently. So for example, you plant in the diffuser, and right after you put the diffuser down, you're gonna go for the E1D, and you get those 3 beats because you're gonna see the enemy's mark. When it comes to peeking doors or hallways in general, you always want to try and avoid these strafe peeks. While they're easy to do and they might seem like a good pick, they are really not, as because you're exposing your shoulder first and only then you're actually seeing the hallway and you give the enemies such a big time to actually kill you. Instead, all you need to do is just lean to the left, and shortly after you cross the point of the doorframe, you just lean to the right again. This is still quite a simple peek, but it is so much better than just strafing. You can use your Maverick Gadget to destroy utility. Like, to walk into doors more silently, or destroy barbed wire more silently. So that the enemies just won't know that you're there. If you always want to get the perfect breach of ace, just align your ace charges with the crosses on the reinforcement right here and right here. And now you got the perfect ace breach. For after plant situations, either go on top to play vertical or go far back outside so you see the diffuser. And these are the easiest ways to play after plants. If you want to run out on, for example, the hookah door here, and you notice an air trap on it, just go prone, and you're able to keep the edge without getting thrown 12 meters into the air. As for rotates, there's only 3 types of rotates: the run-through rotate, a jump-through rotate, and a crouch-through rotate. These are all the ones you're gonna need if you want that little cover, so that if your enemy plants, you're just simply able to smoke them without exposing yourself 100%. If you're on site in the early game and you don't know what to do, don't just sit around scrolling on your phone or just not holding anything. Instead, either hold one angle where the enemies could come through or go on camps. So that you know where the enemies are coming from and you can tell your teammates Dokkaebi is coming from office and they can deny her entry. You always wanna lean. When quick peeking, when engaging for a gunfight, or when just standing holding an angle. Simply because you're just gonna have an advantage for once you see an enemy or an enemy sees you, because he sees less of your body. Especially when holding an angle like this. A tip for when you're roaming is that you don't need to die in an area that isn't your bomb site. Just shoot a cam or two, fall back, but don't risk dying in an area that is genuinely not relevant for the late game, especially when you're contesting entry points, you just really don't need to die there. A common misconception is to go CC first. Do not go CC first. It is arguably the worst side on Clubhouse, to the point where pro teams started playing bar over CCTV. When it comes to placing shields, do not place them in the door frame. You don't have a way to peek around them, and enemies are just able to walk up to them and then peek up and kill you. Instead, put them a bit further behind so you have a chance to peek over them, put ADSs beside them for the ADSs to then protect the shield, but don't put it that far that you can walk around them, because otherwise enemies are just gonna walk beside them and you won't have that sound cue that comes from vaulting over shields. You can hide your mossy pists in the floor. And what I mean is, you can see we just put a hole into the floor and then shoot your mossy pest into the hole. What this does is, if an enemy drone drives up the stairs, the cam will only detect that there's a mossy pest about around here, and basically no one has the reaction time to then still stop the cam and don't get caught by the mossy pest. Something I had to learn on the hard way myself is stop sprinting, especially in 1v1s. Because if you sprint, not only are you super loud, you also give the enemy the chance to just swing you, as you can't shoot back. Because you need to stop sprinting, go into the ADS and then shoot. So take it slow, even though it's a 1v1, maybe even after plant, take your time to ADS or check corners and hipfire. But do not sprint, especially in 1v1s. If you get nervous when playing Rainbow Six, if it's clutch situations, or you get nervous in general when playing against higher ranked people, just play like it's casual. In the end, it's still just a game and you have no need to be nervous about anything. You're gonna realize that if you play a quick match, you're just so much more confident and you do not doubt yourself before winning anything. Simply because in quick match there is nothing on the line. And if you play the same way in ranked, you're just not gonna be as nervous and potentially even play better. And the last thing is, avoid solo queue. You choose to get yourself into a disadvantage. People forget that they are simply solo queuing and then be like, wow, why do my teammates suck? Why do they suck so much? Why do they not communicate with me? Because most of them also solo queue and don't go into ranked thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna communicate, I'm gonna play super strat heavy now. So my tip is avoid solo queue. If you can, always try to duo, triple, or even full stack, as you're just gonna have so much more fun playing. You can play way more competitive than you would in solo queue. You can have great communication, and it is statistically proven that you're just gonna win more games if you 5-stack. Thank you for watching my video. If any of these tips help you, be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. It would help me out massively. As always, until the next video, bye.